Hey YouTube, it's Hex. I'm coming at you with another video. As you guys have seen in my last video that went up before this one, I'm at my money altar still, my prosperity altar as I should say. And this week is week 10 of witchyversity on Facebook. It's Ember Honey Raven's group that she created for all of us to get together, study together, learn from each other, and just create a better community for ourselves. Um, And this week is talking about financial magic. So anything to do with prosperity, money, success, business, um, all of that stuff. And before I get started talking about my personal beliefs on this, I want to talk about like the ethics of. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm really hot and I'm like blotting myself. My room's just really hot today. It's kind of weird. I wanted to talk about the ethics and politics that come behind this type of working. I know we did dark working and dark witchcraft before. That one brought up some ethical questions. This is bringing up the same because some people would maybe even consider this type for personal gain a dark working, depending on what path they are from. Um, so I wanted to just give my personal thoughts on that. To be quite frank, I think the lack of how do I want to? I'm trying to think of how I want to phrase this so I'm not super offensive, and it's going to offend some people. Sorry, it's not how it's intended, but I'm just going to be straightforward with you guys. I think it's a load of crap that people don't practice this type of magic because, you know, historically, witches were not wealthy people, but they always got by. And the reason they always got by was because witches would use witchcraft and their power to empower their life for financial reasons so that they could live steadily and comfortably enough to heal those around them, so that they could be of use to those around them. If they can't help themselves, they can't help anybody else, plain and simple. So I feel like, as long as you're not praying over your winning lottery ticket and trying to, there are limitations that this stuff can do for you. And yeah, so I'm gonna leave it at that. I think that, if you choose not to practice this, so be it. Suit yourself. I personally do, and I know quite a few witches do. Um, I don't do it now. I don't do candle spells often. I do have a prosperity altar, and the reason I have a prosperity altar is I own my own business. I run my own business. I also work for companies where I am essentially my own business person. I work in clienteling and sales in different areas like that. Um, so I use this as a mediator to almost help me ensure that all the hard work that I do myself physically is going to be rewarded. That is essentially what this altar does. It's not to call upon money and keep it going. It's just enough for me to pay my bills and to make sure that I'm living comfortably. Um, yeah, so with that being said, I will go into some more details with you guys. Now, as you see here, there's some supplies laid out on my altar, and I'm going to talk about each one of them individually as to why I use them the way that I use them. Um, everyone knows about lodestones, fool's golds, um, green candles, typical basic stuff. So I'm going to go into some other things that a lot of people may not have thought about or may not do, and that's just my personal practice. Now, I use a lot of hoodoo-like practices, as you guys have known before. My family's from New Orleans, so that kind of runs naturally for me. A lot of practical magic. I'm not a religious person, but I do use energies that are in herbs and curios and things like that. So, as you see here, this is one of my favorite types of candles. And they're those thicker, tapered candles. This is a green one. This one I'll use for a money spell that needs a lot of power faster than what a jar candle can give you. Because in order for this spell to completely take effect, the jar candle is going to burn all the way down. The longer it burns, the more energy that's going to be put into it, and the more energy it's going to give you in the physical world. Where this kind of does a similar idea, but it burns a little bit faster. The jar candle can burn up to 7 days. This candle here can burn a day, day and a half, maybe if you let it burn entirely straight through without turning it off. So I use something like that, and I like this one in particular for those spells where I'm carving into the candle, or I want to roll a candle in herbs, but I want it to work really effectively. These are the candles I go for. So I always have a couple of these on hand just in case. This one happens to be green. I actually don't have any other colors at the moment. Oh no, I lied. I have a purple one right now. I like to have a lot of black and white in these as well to utilize. Um, yeah, so then I'm going to show you guys this here. This necklace that's on my altar is something that I wear on a daily basis. If you guys ever meet me in person, you will probably see that I have this on. And this is a piece of tiger's eye. It's a tiger's eye obelisk that has been wire wrapped and is hanging from a chain. It's not very big. I didn't want it to be super gaudy and big. It's just enough to keep that energy flowing. So this charges on my prosperity altar, because in a lot of hoodoo traditions, and some even like traditional witchcraft traditions from the European side, tiger's eye is seen as a prosperous stone. It's prosperity, protection, money, that type of thing. So I always wear one of these around my neck while I'm at work. And that just helps to ensure that I'm in the correct mindset and that I'm able to feel out what needs to happen in order for me to make the correct changes while I'm at work to have my work pay off, essentially. Then I'm going to go into oils. So I use a lot of Lucky Mojo oils just because I have them. I had stocked up on them one time because I was curious, so I'm going to use them before I make my own. I have a road opener oil. This one's great for dressing candles if you feel like, you're working your ass off and it's not taking you exactly the way that you want to, or it's taking a lot longer than you want to. You feel like something's in your way. The road opener oil is really good to dress your anoint your candles, and even your mojo bags, to just harness that energy to get rid of what is blocking your path. Um, as you guys can see, there's actually herbs and stuff in the oil. Um, it looks like there's a couple different types of leaves, maybe some lemongrass or sweetgrass, patchouli in there. There's a few different things in there that do all of that for you. So then I have prosperity oil. This is one of my favorite anointing oils from Lucky Mojo. It's actually really good. There's some clove in there. Looks like maybe some peppercorn or juniper berry. It has some lodestone and fool's gold at the bottom. A couple other herbs. Um, that one does exactly what it's supposed to do. It just draws in prosperity, and it adds an energy to the candle that I feel like you would have to really sit there and consistently feed it all day long to get that effect that this oil gives you. So I utilize those often on dressing my altar candles for my money altar. And then I recently did a botanica haul where I got this pure patchouli oil. Um, I actually really like it for my candles. Um, Now, you guys have seen that in my last video that I just put up about when I was dressing that candle there, that I used this patchouli oil as well as my doTERRA patchouli essential oil. Now, the difference is this pure patchouli oil is probably cut with a thicker oil that's going to give it some more viscosity, and it's going to just help it to last longer without evaporating. Where my pure patchouli oil is the exact essence of patchouli. It's not as thick as that oil. It's still a thicker oil, but it's not as thick as this one, which is how I know it's been cut with something in this particular oil. So I utilize this in place of dried patchouli herb, where this is specifically for the scent and the power of an oil on my candle in order for it to burn the way that I want it to burn. Um, the patchouli essential oil is great because it's a drier oil. It's not going to be greasy, and it's going to do, it's going to put the energy of the herb in there um, instead of using dried patchouli herb. So I do that a lot of the time. For me, it's just more cost efficient. You only need 1 or 2 drops of the oil versus a teaspoon or, cups of the herb, depending on what it is. So I have my patchouli oils, and then I have rosemary. Now, rosemary, a lot of witches have different thoughts on rosemary. I love rosemary for protection. I love it for cleansing, but I also love it for prosperity. There's an old saying that I've heard, and I don't even know where I heard it from. Plant rosemary by your garden gate for luck. I could be wrong. It might be practical magic, but it's an old philosophy my grandmother used to do. you know, I've talked about my grandmother before, and she had these tiny little, what I thought was rosemary. I could be wrong. She had two little pots of rosemary right outside her door. Um, and I didn't understand that until recently. So I use rosemary sometimes in my candles or in my mojo bags or in incense that I make, or I use my essential oils a lot of the time in making my own oils to dress my candles. So then we'll move on to dill. Now, dill has a few different purposes. I personally, for me, dill is a very grounding scent. Um, and by grounding, I mean keeping it at an earthly level, nothing too crazy. So a lot of the times, if I feel like I maybe wasn't as specific enough as I wanted to be, and I feel like I might be asking for more than I need to, I'll incorporate a little dill to kind of just balance everything out and ground the spell. And then I'm showing you guys doTERRA On Guard. Now this particular essential oil is a blend of a few different oils. It has cinnamon, it has clove, but cinnamon and clove are the reason I'm showing you that, because cinnamon and clove are known for being prosperous herbs. As you guys saw, I dressed my candle in cinnamon. Cinnamon's one of my favorite things. I use it for protection. I use it for cleansing. I use it for prosperity. I use it for healing. Like, there's just so many uses with that. I think it's a must-have for you guys if you don't have any. Um, then obviously we have Cascadia, which is more of a Santeria tradition, from my understanding, and it's ground eggshells. Eggshells bring life and creation to this. So to create a better business, I use Cascadia in my candle, and I talked about in my candle video how I utilize cinnamon and cascadia to feed my candles, so you guys can kind of talk about or look at that in my video. I go over it briefly. And then finally, one of the things that I like to do, I have chicken's feet here. As you guys saw, I recently did my video of chicken's feet. You guys see the money on my altar here. What you can also do, which is what I'm going to eventually do, I'm just kind of letting my chicken's feet do their thing right now, is take that money, fold it, you know, paint your chicken's feet, do whatever you want to do with your chicken's feet, and bind that money to the chicken's feet. And, you know, Lady Gravedancer has a really good video that she talks about this in. And it's something that I've done for a while that I didn't know really anyone else did that. And I'm so glad that other people utilize chicken's feet in this way. But by binding that money to your chicken's feet, you're keeping that money in your hands. You're keeping it in your family. You're keeping it to you. So that's something that you could do to help you budget. If you have issues budgeting, maybe use chicken's feet as like a totem or like an amulet, you know, to help you better manage your money. If you own your own business and you feel like maybe, unfortunately, someone may be stealing from you, make a chicken's feet mojo bag or chicken's foot amulet to hide underneath the register or near the register, and that will help you to better manage the money for your business. Like, there's just so many uses for this, and I think this is such a broad spectrum of um, workings that can be done that it comes down to preference and tradition based on what you believe and how you see things. There's also these little shells. I think they're called cowrie shells, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. I know they're known by a few different names. I got these from Mama Sarah at Conjured Cardia when I ordered some oils from her to try out, and I love her oils. They're amazing. She sent me some of these. Now, these are known for prosperity and blessings, so I keep those on my altar as well. If any of you follow I Ching, um, you know, I have an I Ching coin here hanging as an amulet on my door, and then I also have a small bracelet of them there. Um, it's an Asian tradition. I want to say it's Chinese or Buddhist. I could very well be wrong, um, but that's just a representation for me. Now all this stuff stays on my altar. You never want to remove, like if you make a chicken's foot or you put money on your altar, you never want to remove that money. That will actually take it away from you. Um, that's just my personal preference and my belief. If you do and it works for you, right on. It did not work for me. I want to talk about the last candle that I burned. Let me grab it. I'll show you guys. You guys saw that when I did my prosperity altar, I had a green version of this candle here, and I have burned it all the way down. You can see it was a clean, easy burn, which in my eyes signifies it's successful, and it was very successful. As you guys know, I'm a makeup artist, and as this candle got about halfway done burning and everything started to work out in its favor, I'm being called upon at work. I'm actually super, super busy at work. I'm going to be traveling a lot for work over this next month, which is a really good thing. It's more money. I get paid out for my mileage when I travel. Like, there's just more prosperity to it, and it's putting me further in the direction I want to go career-wise. So, and I didn't ask for anything specific. I just asked that my business be prosperous and successful, and that when I work hard on that, that I get a successful payout of it. And I think that's super key, is if you're not asking for something very specific, like you can do candle spells and ask for a specific amount of money to just make sure you pay a bill or whatnot. But if you're not being specific, just ask that you're successful if you're working hard. You can't just ask for success and not work for it. You have to work at it. It goes hand in hand. The metaphysical and the physical have to work together in order to achieve the effect. And that's what a lot of newer witches or some witches in general that have been practicing for years and years feel like that they're more powerful than physical work, and that's just not the case. So if you're going to do this type of working, you need to make sure that once the working is going and that you're doing that, you're also in the physical world trying to get it. So let's say you're doing a candle spell to try to find a job. You're not going to find a job. It's not going to come to you if you're not looking for one. You have to go out and put in applications, talk to people, get out there and do the work that you would normally do, and the candle will assist you in placing you in the right place. Um, yeah. So then I wanted to talk about a couple books. Let me see if I have them here with me. I might have to come back and do a separate video on that. Yeah, I'm gonna do a separate video on that, I think, because they're not specifically about prosperity books. Like, I don't have any books specifically on that, but I want to talk about some of my few favorite excerpts from different books that I have. So that'll be probably my next video coming up. I think that covered everything I wanted to talk about briefly in this video. If you guys follow witchyversity and are on there, you'll be seeing me post about a lot of this stuff too. Yeah, so stay tuned. There'll be a couple other videos coming out. And until next time, I will talk to all of you soon. Blessed be.